Early All-Star voting numbers are in. And though Zach Lavine and Nikola Vucevic has been good for most of the season, they ain't getting no love in the early release of the All-Star voting. And the other topic on today's episode, we got to talk about Tom Thibodeau saying it's no question that Derrick Rose should be a Hall of Famer. Y'all know we're going to talk about it all and break it down, but you got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. If you're tuned in with me today, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, we just received last night some of the early results from NBA voting when it comes to who's going to be going to the All-Star game. And not too much of a surprise if we're keeping it a buck. None of the Chicago Bulls are getting any love from early voting from fans, and rightfully so. It's you kind of understand it to a degree if you're not inside of the Chicago Bulls fan base and not watch them all the time. No one really gives a care. No one really cares on if Zach Lavine is having an efficient season. They just see the win column loss and not one the Chicago Bulls. Nobody really wants to pay that much attention to them, so they just kind of ignore them. Same thing for Nikola Vucevic, having a very good season thus far if we take everything in totality, and same thing. You're on a bad team right now, and yeah, though a lot of the internal fans love to see and cheer on this team and be over there and hooping and hollering for the young fellas, one thing is still true. The others around the league don't give a damn. They don't care. And and if we keeping it real, we can go through and look at what has transpired on the Eastern Conference side of it. Not even a top 10 appearance for Nikola Vucevic, with Giannis leading the way, Jason Tatum, Karl-Anthony Towns. The crazy part is when we look at it, and if we keeping it a buck and we hold the guys accountable, especially fans, how the hell is Paolo Banchero on this list and he's only played 5 games this season? Y'all got to help me make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? I understand you want to go ahead and get your guy in there, but he's only played 5 games. Let's keep it real. So he should not be up on this list, respectively, though, because I do believe if he was still in the game and not, suffering from that oblique injury, Paolo will absolutely be in the mix for an all-star run. But that ain't the case if we keeping it a buck. If we talking about the guards, y'all mean to tell me Derek White had a better season than Zach Lavine? NBA fans, let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real. Is Derek White having a better season than Zach Lavine? They have Jordan Poole on the list. Is Jordan Poole having a better season than Zach Lavine? No, if we keeping it a buck. But again, we do understand that the All-Star game, it's mostly a popularity contest when it comes to the type of voting that we see around the league. Especially if you've been around the league, especially if you've been around the league for a long time. Most guys, if you had a decent little run and you had, got you a couple All-Stars early up on in your career, sometimes you just get the legacy vote. Keeping it real. Sometimes you just get that vote. But Jordan Poole over Zach Lavine, hey, I get it. They did just beat us by, they just waxed the Chicago Bulls. But can we keep it a being? I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, you got to come to terms and you just kind of understand where fans are really coming from. And while Reinsdorf sees that the bottom line is positive, fans around the NBA and around the world are not feeling anything on the Chicago Bulls team. And can you blame them? Can we really blame them? If the Chicago Bulls possibly had a better record, I don't even think that it makes much of a difference. Unless that record was 4 or 5 games over 500, but you'll still have the people that are not believers, in my opinion, because of the youthfulness that's on the team and the enigma that's already surrounding Zach Lavine and the type of player that he is. We just had the conversation the other day. Look, I understand Zach Lavine dropped 30 versus the Wizards, but we didn't even know he dropped them. Or at least I didn't. If I wasn't following the stat sheet, I'd be like, damn, what the hell is Zach Lavine? Those are the type of those moments that a lot of people point to, and sometimes you just can't defend them. Real talk. And no love for the Bulls is not, nobody should be up in arms about it. No love for the Bulls. Right now, 10th seed. And I'm going to be right there with y'all cheering them on. And, hey, shout out to Zach Lavine and Nikola Vucevic season, but we need more than just individual accolades at this point. That's just how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at team success. For me, personally, I care more about team success than individual stats. Now, I'm not going to be hypocritical and act like I didn't want Kobe White to win Most Improved Player. But I believe that's a different type of standing when it comes to all-star voting, in my personal opinion. But it is what it is. You live with the decision. The Bulls can't blame nobody but themselves. And shit, if you want to be a little more popular around the NBA and around the NBA world, win more basketball games. That's what it really comes down to. So if there's anybody feeling salty about this, challenge the Chicago Bulls to win more basketball games. They don't think that guys like Nikola Vucevic or a Zach Lavine deserve some type of voting, though I do think that they should have been at least in the mix when it came out with some of the early numbers with the players that's listed in these top 10 in both the front court and the back court. Just my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, if you want more popularity to get in these games, not only do you have to ball out, you got to win games too. You absolutely have to win games, and the Bulls haven't done that for a while. Do we, you know what I'm saying? Can we make a case if it would have been different if Zach Lavine and Nikola Vucevic was on a different team? Absolutely, we could. We could. But I still think it'll come down to what that team's record is. Because if Zach Lavine was over there balling with the Detroit Pistons, does that change the way people will feel about him and his team? No. What if he was over there with Brooklyn Nets, dropping 30? But they still stink. No. Look at the Washington Wizards. Hey, kudos to Jordan Poole. I don't know if that's his own clout. I ain't going to question where it came from. He is a champion, though, so you get a little bit more eyes on you when you become a champion. Zach Lavine not a champion. Nikola Vucevic is not one. So the popularity is going to have to come in some form of you balling out and your team having some type of success. It is what it is. And it just adds on to the point that it's time for change, man. It's time for a change from the Chicago Bulls to the point to where I don't want anybody in the way of Montes Buzelis' minutes. I want him to go out there, make mistakes. Billy Donovan check his ass for making those mistakes, but then also earning an opportunity to go back out there and see if he can correct his mistakes and learn. Tough to talk about when you're dealing with Billy Donovan, for sure. Like, let's keep it real. Tough to talk about when you talk about Billy Donovan, for sure. But it still needs to be present. And it has to be some type of form of, we need to see who's going to carry this mantle for the next few years, because Zach Lavine ain't carrying us nowhere. We are in a play-in conversation again. It's the same shit for the last 3 years. It's time for some change. That's all it lets me know. That's all it lets me know. So no love for the Chicago Bulls players, despite the season that they're having. And it ain't much of defense that we could put out there. Let's keep it real, because we should be caring more about team success at this moment in Chicago sports fan life right now. But hey, let me know your thoughts and everything down below. It's now time to talk about my man's Derrick Rose, who's been on his tour. Shout out to them. I seen a couple clips on Twitter with the Derrick Rose pop-up shot. Looked like it was a beautiful setting. I definitely, and I let y'all know, I appreciate it. The reason the pop-up shop was ever, established and put on for that day, I respect the hell out of that. I even seen my mans in Simeon dropping gems, keeping it real, talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly in life, and gave examples of his life to go ahead and continue his message on. And I hope that some of those young guys that was up in that room listening to him talk really take that information and apply it. Because you can learn some shit, but it ain't valuable if you don't apply it. But anyway, Derrick Rose former head coach Tom Thibodeau, he was doing an interview with the Knicks, and they was talking about Derrick Rose or whatnot. And he went on to say, and quote, he was the ultimate teammate and obviously a great player. I can recall looking into the eyes of the opponent when he had the ball. You can see the fear. There's no question he's a Hall of Fame player. I say, yeah, it's tough to argue with, but it is a discussion that's going to be had, and there is a chance that it might take him a little bit of time. But I think, yeah, maybe this just is me being biased, and I'll be real with y'all. I'm being biased because this is one of my favorite players of all time, literally, like, you know, and especially because some of the type of connections that I got to this type of player, same neighborhood, same side of Chicago, but not, you know, making it way like that in the same vicinity, not necessarily the actual neighborhood, but the south side of Chicago. We was there. He was there. Made it out. You be happy for shit like that. And if you're not happy for things like that, you just a complete hater. But I do think that I think he has a chance. I don't know if it's going to be first ballot. I'm not really that confident in that, and I keep it real with you. But you can't deny what my man's has done. 15 years in the league, youngest MVP, a couple All-Star appearances, and All-NBA appearances. Then some success in high school, in college. It is the Basketball Hall of Fame. So I believe he was an All-American basketball player. Well, he was. What am I talking about? And we'll see where it goes from there. We'll see what goes from there. But the question I got to ask, me and C-Dub kind of talked about it, so I want to hear from you all. Do you guys think it would be harder to make the case for Derrick Rose or Joakim Noah to make the Hall of Fame? I think both guys have a legit chance to get in, but who do you think it'll be a little bit more harder for, just for the sake of basketball discussion? So don't go in there and trying to fight everybody and argue them down. Let's just have the discussion so we can see if both of these guys can get in, because that's the ultimately, that's what I want. Both of these guys in. Two of my favorite players of all time in the Hall of Fame that I got to see play tough basketball that represented Chicago in the best way. Derrick Rose, 15 years career. Some notable things that I seen, over 12,000 points career-wise, 3,700 assists, 3-time All-Star, MVP, All-Rookie, 1-time All-NBA. Joakim Noah, 13-year career, 5,800 points, 874 blocks, 2-time All-Star, back-to-back college champion with Florida, and a Defensive Player of the Year award. That's a lot of shit to have on there. And I'm pretty sure I'm probably missing things for both of these guys because I didn't want to, you know what I'm saying, just lay it all out there. But I think that these are two things that compete with something. I think they can compete. Now, I will ask this. Tracy McGrady is a Hall of Famer, I believe, right? He ain't never won an MVP. I had to, brush up on the stats and all that stuff up to make sure, but he's in. It's a couple guys whose careers was cut short that are in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Give my guys a shot. We'll see what happens. But that is it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode. Before you get up out of here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. We are trying to get that mailbag episode going. So if you want to be a part of one, call in, state your name, leave your take. The number to do so is 773-242-9219. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you always see red, and you already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.
Cognac.